Here to discuss the magnitude of this problem is the Director of Investigations for the network analysis firm Graphika, Tyler Williams. Tyler, how much has technology capable of basically undressing people moved from something small to really a significant online business?
Yeah, hey, good morning, and thanks for that question. So much like with every other facet of AI technology, deepfake pornography has shifted to kind of a more mainstream technology. So we've seen at Graphika, we've seen advertisements for this kind of service pervade mainstream social media platforms. AI-generated kind of quote-unquote fake news websites that were built just strictly to try to obfuscate their relationship with AI pornography websites, and a range of kind of using regular internet infrastructure as any other business would. And so, we've seen hundreds and thousands of page views for all of these services that we've identified at this point. So it's a pretty significant risk.
Yeah, it's really frightening. We're aware of some of the famous women already being victimized, including Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and entertainer Taylor Swift, just to name a couple. So, what can be done to keep these deepfake images from being made public?
Yeah, I think there's kind of a twofold answer there. So the first one, and maybe this is a little bit disappointing, but like this technology exists at this point. So it's a little too late to kind of stop these models from being built. However, on maybe a mainstream AI model website, there could be a little bit more stringent standards applied to the models that are actually available for people. And then the second part of this is, like I mentioned in the first section here, they are using kind of mainstream e-commerce like infrastructure. And so this definitely violates some existing terms of service. So whether that's payment providers or single sign-on services or even web hosting providers, I think all of these people in kind of the commercial sector have a little bit of a role to play in helping to prevent kind of the spread of this.
Yeah, because I would think it would be very hard to go after, the people behind these images. About 99% of those victimized by these AI images, though, they are female. So if legislation isn't capable of keeping up with the technology, you mentioned some of the safeguards. Anything else, though, that could be done to keep people from really just essentially becoming a victim of this?
So I don't want to present as deeply cynical this early in the morning, but as the technology kind of improves, we've all kind of uploaded our faces to various social media platforms or other places online at this point, and the technology is getting good enough where a single still image of a face is enough. So outside of becoming a hermit and not scrubbing the entire internet of your presence, I think the other side of this is just being aware that this will happen. I think there's also a facet here that we haven't really touched on this morning, but romance scams were, I think, $650 million business in the U.S. last year, and that usually required people to like interact and engage and eventually solicit like nude or compromising images of someone. And so this is kind of adds another layer. And so it's another thing that people need to be aware of is that, scammers or malign actors can either create this content, but then there could be an entirely separate subset of actors who are actually using this content for like malign financial gain.
Yeah, bribery, right? All right, Graphika Director of Investigations, Tyler Williams, thank you so much. Definitely an eye-opener. And we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.